Crimson Tide.
First time we've seen Alabama in a long time without Mark Sears in the mix. It'll be interesting to see how the ball is distributed throughout the evening.
Back-to-back turnovers to start things. Lance mentioned it with Holloway, Jim. As you look at Nate Oates, the Alabama head coach in his 7th season, 145 at 63, a couple of Elite Eights, a Final Four. His 11th year as a college coach, 245 and 106 going back to his days at Buffalo. Holloway did not start last year, so Alabama will look to him as a starter this season with Sears gone. As Feilein heads to the basket, hits the deck, and can't get it to go, but he'll shoot free throws.
That's what he's so good at. That's why he flirted with the NBA and is getting a lot of NBA looks. He can create his shot, quick step, and gets to the hole.
Yeah, absolutely. A physical guard, too, as you said, drawing the contact, a guy that gets to the stripe, and really not a weakness in Feilein's game as he starts his 2nd year with the Crimson Tide.
LeBaron Feilein, a 76% free throw shooter last season for the Crimson Tide. He stayed in the draft a very, very long time. Took it to the basically 11th hour before letting Nate Oates know he would return to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, the only returning starter, official starter for the Alabama Crimson Tide from last year, and a guy that was named this week in Birmingham, first team preseason All-SEC.
Look how good these Alabama fans are, trained in basketball now, getting so quiet when their guys are shooting.
I felt like I might be disrupting things, to be honest with you. Feilein's 2nd free throw will not go, but Alabama has the 1-0 lead. Fight for the ball on the floor. No jump ball called. The Tide comes away with it. It was Holloway in the scrum, kicking it out, but Florida State comes away with the basketball. Here is Robert McRae, the 5th. Interesting story about his name. Great defense by Feilein as the Tide plays man-to-man.
Both teams long and athletic, and it looks like the officials, at least early on, are going to let them play.
McGee, a quick trigger on the 3 off the back of the rim, no good, and Bo Bowen pulls down his first board, and Alabama will look to him for a lot of that this year.
Yeah, Bo Bowen's one of these guys you mentioned, former Florida State Seminole from last year, and talking to people inside the program, super excited about this guy.
Millett turns down the shot, and Holloway was going to drive, and he loses it. Another Crimson Tide turnover, and the drive from McRae. Robert McRae, the 5th, gets his first bucket of the game, and it's 2-1 Florida State.
Yeah, so many unknowns for the Seminoles with a completely new roster, only 3 guys behind. You mentioned Robert McRae, the 5th, guy that followed his assistant coach from Jacksonville University over here, and a guy that can light it up.
So take a look at the free throw stripe, or the last basket, as Florida State. I thought it was going to be a shooting foul perhaps for the Crimson Tide, but he just had it knocked away from behind, so an inbound along the sideline. So Feilein has it for the Tide. There is Sherrill. Back to Feilein, now Holloway. And now a 3 on the way, and that is something you will see from Taylor Bo Bowen. He may be 6'10", but that guy can fill it up from outside.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a space 4, is what Nate loves to call him. And if you're going to play in this lineup, you're going to have to shoot the perimeter shot.
But you got to play defense at the other end.
That's
back
right.
down there by Wiggins. Big bucket for Chauncey there.
Yeah, Wiggins is a big body guy down away, 6'10", 225.
Chauncey Wiggins knows this Alabama roster because he's at Clemson, and it seems like Clemson and Alabama have been rivals in basketball the last couple of years.
That's a yearly battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another turnover for the Tide as Feilein was trying to feed it inside, and on the run out, there is a lay-in by Kobe McGee.
Veteran backcourt. A lot of minutes in this backcourt for Alabama. They should be one of the better backcourts in college basketball, but off to a shaky start in this exhibition game.
Quick catch and release by Holloway will not go. And here comes Florida State, and again, that's McGee. McGee can't get it to go, but he hits the ground and will shoot free throws.
And McGee, a guy that they call an elite shooter, shot 44% behind the arc last year at Drexel for the Dragons. And they say this guy can really get after it at 6'5" on the wing.
Wiggins, the 6'10" guy, played at Clemson, and they've got a kid from Drexel, a kid from St. Bonaventure in Jacksonville. So you've got some transfer portal and a rebuild there for Coach Laux as he tries to take where Leonard Hamilton had the program and get Florida State back to greatness. Lance had a great interaction with Coach Laux in pregame when we were talking to him. You'd seen this guy in person before.
Well, yeah, look, and Laux is, talking to him, it's all about getting this tempo up and finding 5 guys that can shoot the perimeter shot. They're not even close to where they want to be coming off 17 wins season for Leonard Hamilton, but he went out, recruited. You mentioned some of the schools. We do a show together. The only Power 4, we'll call it in football, they went out and recruited from was Clemson, as you mentioned earlier.
A complete line change almost for Nate Oates, and that dead ball at the free throw stripe. And a lot of fresh faces in for the Tide, and there is one of them, Amari Allen. This is a guy that averaged 34 points a game in high school up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Nate Oates' old stomping ground up there, and he brought him down to Tuscaloosa. That's his first basket in a Bama uniform.
Seems like we said Green Bay a couple of times last night on the broadcast.
I would agree. We saw a pretty good player that played college ball at Green Bay. Allen did his high school ball there, 34, 11, and 8 his senior season. And this is his first basket in a white uniform for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And one of the easiest he'll probably ever score.
Yeah, good looking for Bristow there. Got a little tip, but had enough on it. Good eyes by him to see the man open down low.
So freshman Davion Hanna, Amari Allen, London Jemison all in, along with Bristow for the Crimson Tide as McGee makes the bucket. So you can see Nate Oates wants to see these fresh faces under the lights as quickly as possible. He'll keep Feinlein in, of course, to run the point, and Feinlein draws another foul. This time it's going to be on Florida State's Robert McCray V.
A little more of a subdued atmosphere tonight, is that fair to say?
Yeah. This is the second year Alabama has done this. Last year against Wake Forest, another ACC opponent.
The third consecutive year we've seen Aiden Holloway in exhibition basketball.
That's absolutely right.
With 2 different schools.
2 different jerseys. There's a 3 from the corner by Amari Allen. I told you he averaged 34 a game up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he's on pace for that now.
Well, if you score 34 a game, I don't care what level it is, you like to shoot it.
That's right. And you saw a pretty good shot there from him to tie it at 9. But now a whistle as Allen got tangled up with Leger Jones, and he will pick up his first personal foul. So Amari Allen drains the 3 to make it a 9-9 game at our first media timeout. The kick out got intercepted, and Chauncey Wiggins lays it off to Kobe McGee as Florida State and Alabama knotted up at 9 on the back of this. Amari Allen made
last night with all of the bids. Last year, the ACC only 4 teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that did not look normal, and it's a bigger conference than it ever has been, by the way.
By the way, KenPom ranking Florida State the worst in the preseason of all the power conferences. They're the lowest power conference team at 96. Seeing this team, I think they'll end up a lot better than that.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that's just a shot in the dark because new coach, new talent.
That's right. How do you even know anymore? There is the layup by London Jemison. A high schooler out of Bloomfield, Connecticut, scored 14. And now a freshman for the Crimson Tide.
This is the answer back. This is the pace both coaches want right
now.
The
answer back by Florida State to make it 12-11. You're right. This is a little more what I think both Oates and Laux had in mind in this game. Jemison can't get that 3 to fall. And here come the Seminoles. Somerville kicks it out to Wiggins. That one won't go, and it's out of bounds off of the Crimson Tide.
Now, I do think this is the pace Coach Laux wants.
First job, Lance. First season in Florida. He's 35. This is a young head coach.
35 years old, and a guy that obviously played at Florida State, played for 4 years, was an all first-team ACC tournament performer in 2012. We had an opportunity. Told him the only ACC tournament I've ever been to, 2012 in Atlanta, Florida State, their first ever ACC championship, and he was like, you got to come back.
He said, you got to come back this year. Yeah.
Basically the defensive coordinator with the Sacramento Kings and the Warriors organization as well. NBA guy.
Boy, that was a quick basket creation by Chauncey Wiggins on the perimeter. Here comes Holloway for the Crimson Tide back in the game. Amari Allen, the talented freshman. And that one is thrown away by another freshman, London Jemison. The Alabama turnover as Florida State looks to convert that into points. And now a whistle as Tomas Mazong drives the paint, and he'll go to the stripe, shoot free throws.
4 turnovers now for Alabama in this game, and when it comes to rebound right now, they're getting out-rebounded 6-1. Sure, that's what Nate Oates was talking to his team about in that timeout. Look at these 2 programs, you're going to say they play a lot of the same style. Laux hopes to have Nate Oates' success, but when they look at each other on tape, they're going to look a lot alike.
Yeah, he, said before the game, Kevin Young, BYU, Nate Oates at Alabama, these are the styles the NBA guys are looking down to. And everybody respects those styles, and obviously it's easier to get recruits, right? I think you asked him in the pregame how much easier it is to recruit, or maybe Scooter down there did.
He's got 3 top 100 guys committed. He told us they all committed the night they were in Tallahassee after Florida State beat Alabama.
I didn't know if you're going to bring this up, but yeah, he said that was a seminal moment for Seminole recruiting in basketball.
Is that off the record? I didn't hear that.
No.
Okay.
After the steal, Cam Miles slams it in. I'd say it was off the record. I just didn't know if the Alabama fans watching us tonight wanted to relive that moment, but it certainly was big for Luke Laux. Now a tie-up, and Hannah did not like the fact that one of the Florida State Seminoles came in there to try to break up the jump ball, and the officials quickly in the middle of this to make peace.
I don't know how many fouls we had called last night, but the officials are letting them play here, which is good. We like, but at the same time, you can get a little chippy when it goes over the top like that.
Another turnover there that leads to the Miles dunk. He's a 3rd-generation college basketball player, by the way, and the coaching staff.
Tennessee game on Saturday, very high likelihood you'll see Nate Oates walking around with recruits. It is a great way to lock guys down because it is such a good window into your university. That's about as bizarre a made basket as you'll see. Maluk was fouled on his way to the dunk. The ball popped up in the air off the glass and in.
Look at Maluk get the ball, get the lucky bounce as he challenges at the rim there, and it rolls in there. Maluk has an interesting story, LT. We were talking and reading before the game, refugees from the South Sudan, born actually in a refugee camp, and now he's here playing basketball, one of the big contributors now for Florida State, and he completes the 3-point play.
Yeah, Maluk, they say, he's got the potential to be an NBA center one day. Just really, really raw. You see the size, 6'11", 220. Got to stay out of foul trouble, though.
LeBaron Filine going to be whistled for the travel. There was a little half-court pressure there that Luke Laux sprung on the Crimson Tide.
Oni Jaka is going to be good for Alabama. He's getting playing time, 34 there. Had the ball, was about to go up and make a move at the rim before the traveling call.
Yeah, he is a big kid, 6'11", 270. You see him right there in the paint for the Crimson Tide, number 34, Collins Owinjaka. He is a freshman from Boston, and he eats up a lot of space for the Crimson Tide. They are very high on him.
Big, massive.
Yes, he is
You
massive.
just don't see kids that age that aren't that are filled out like that. I mean, he's got a grown man's body.
Yeah, if you look at, some big men, 7-footers in the game, they don't have those shoulders, those muscles. And he's going to eat up some space in SEC play when they need those minutes, when Sherrell is on the bench.
Blast from the past. First time I ever saw Marvin Stone play basketball was here in Birmingham.
Yeah, Bristol High School up in Huntsville. As the 3 goes down for 5.
I'll get back to that in a second. But watching Tubby Smith recruit him, he's got the same kind of build.
Yeah, I can see some Marvin Stone in him. It's interesting, he and Bo Bowen are just about the same height. He's 65 pounds heavier than Taylor Bo Bowen.
Yeah, Bo Bowen can hide behind him.
And there he is with a rebound on the miss.
Worked hard to get the right position there. Now Alabama in transition.
Here comes Amari Allen. He'll kick it out to Bo Bowen. Fouled on the 3-point attempt, so he'll shoot 3 free throws.
Boy, and you see Bo Bowen fitting into the style of play very quickly, right? Big guy, but he's not afraid to get out there and get some shots off.
No doubt. So look at Philon draining that 3 on Alabama's previous trip, and look at the foul on Bo Bowen, and he'll shoot 3 free throws as the Crimson Tide is down 7 now, looking to cut into that lead a little bit.
Pride of Jericho, Vermont. 5,100 strong in Jericho. I wonder if anybody back home was watching the broadcast tonight.
5,100 in Jericho, Vermont.
I hope John Rothstein's watching tonight. I'll follow him he was watching last night. He believes every preseason basketball game, exhibition game, should be streamed or televised. He was bragging the fact that last night he could watch Oklahoma State and Auburn battle here at the Ballin and Boutwell event.
He just would like better announcers, I'm sure, but
Well,
welcome in, John.
Well, I agree with John. Did he not send out? Hey, the Big 12 needs to watch out for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
You can say what you want coming into the season, and we talked to somebody upstairs tonight, and they were like, I didn't expect much. That backcourt is legitimate.
Rothstein agreed with you, man.
Here is Florida State. Back on the attack, 21-15. The Noles lead it. Approaching the midway mark of the first half. The Crimson Tide stepping up the defensive intensity. Holloway got screened off. Shot won't go, and Bowen skies for the board. Here comes Philon. He's going to pull it up and shoot the three, and reads it. And that cuts it to three. Alabama on a 7-0 run until that made basket goes down from Maluk. And Philon fouled at the midcourt stripe.
You know, we saw it last night, and this is kind of that frenetic pace, and it does look like the coaches are substituting a little bit more than last night. But with this pace, this early in the season with conditioning,
Well,
that'll be something to watch.
Philon feeling it early on, 2 of 2 from 3, and that's his transition to pull up and hit the shot. That was what makes him so elite and so smooth early on here.
And another foul. 7 Alabama turnovers. And Luke Lauk's team has only turned it over twice. So understandable that Nate Oates will be frustrated by that. Holloway will shoot free throws.
Alabama in the bonus, 17 fouls, 5 for Florida State. 5 Alabama fouls, 7 for Florida State, correction.
We're on quite the pace again.
Yeah.
And they've really swallowed the whistle.
They have let these teams play more than the officials did last night. Good group of officials, Terry Oglesby, Byron Jarrett, and Courtney Green on the call in tonight's game.
14 paint points for Florida State already, 14 points in the paint. And that's going to be a concern going into the season for Alabama with the loss of the guys underneath.
No more Cliff Amore in there, but they've got some length on this team, there's no doubt, including Sherrell, who tips that one back to Millette. Bowen makes the pass, pulls the rope on the three, cannot get it to go. Philon with a rebound in the corner there. Philon, pump fake in the paint. He can't get it to go and is down to the ground after the miss. Here comes McGee. Now McGee going to back it out. That one will not go. Rebound in the follow by Muhammad. It will not go. Another follow by Leger. It will not go.
Just some easy chippy baskets missed there. You mentioned Amore, and such a rim protector for Alabama last year.
Millette back from injury, and it is good to see him back on the court.
That's the guy everyone's talking about his shot, Lance.
Well, you know, California kid from Pepperdine, wanted to see him last year, gets hurt early, only plays in 6 games, and there's big expectation for his ability to light it up.
Yeah, Miles on the drive. Millette has just, it was a tough year last year. Started the season, chose to redshirt, and now back on the court for the Crimson Tide, and everyone in crimson and white is thrilled to see that.
Gets a foul here, but Millette told us at SEC Media Days he wants to be the Swiss Army knife. He wants to be able to do whatever the coaching staff needs him to do. If he wants to be a defensive specialist, if he needs to be a shooter, needs to be a point guard, he can do it all, and he can really be a contributor on this team. Big time potential.
I'll tell you, first glance, Scooter, 10 minutes into this game, I agree with you on Nate wanting to emphasize on defense. Who is going to be the rim protector? Is Sherrell going to be that guy this year?
That's the guy that they now list at 7 foot for the Crimson Tide as a whistle. Will go against Florida State. They list Sherrell in the media guide. I don't know. I've not stood next to him. But they list him at 7 foot now. He was 6'10" last year.
Well, he could grow a couple of inches.
He easily could grow.
He looks every bit of 7 foot.
Yeah.
Wemby's grown 2 inches in the NBA, so you're still growing at this level, so absolutely. And he looks taller anyway because of his muscular build is better this year. He's firmed up a little bit, slimmed up a little bit, looks really good.
That's Keaton Briscoe putting it back in the paint. That's a 6'10" guy, so there is some length on this team. It's just got to develop it. It creates a turnover there, and here comes Philon on the move. The lob to Briscoe, and he lays it in, and Alabama has the lead, 27-25.
Yeah, Briscoe, body control right there. You thought he was going to try to flush it. And just use that athleticism to lay it in.
And the Alabama crowd making some noise, trying to make it tough on the Seminoles now. Holloway extending the defense for the Crimson Tide. McGee, nice dribble move, can't get the three to go. Rebound will go to Bristow. And the Tide back on the run now. Byline has it knocked away. Holloway going to drive now, and he's fouled at the three-point arc.
You know, Nate has pointed out Holloway's second season in this system. You saw the jump Mark Sears year 1 to year 2. Can we see a similar jump offensively for Aiden Holloway?
Good looking pass right there, the transition, and then last time down the floor, Nato's waving his arms, trying to encourage them to keep going at that pace, keep going at that pace. Wants to get out and run always. Once you talk about that defense, Lance. At one point, before they went to the Final Four in the Elite Eight, they did that sort of with smoke and mirrors. Great offense and a defense that was really bad on the Final Four year, just got hot at the right time. And then a little better last year. But before that, back when they had the 1 seeds and were 16-2 in the SEC, they were the top 10 in the country in defense.
Well, you know, it's tough at this pace, though. You know, we're talking about an Alabama team. The last 3 years, they have set a record each and every year for most points scored. And when you're scoring over 90 points per game, it's hard to play elite defense.
That is one thing that does make Alabama's defense look a little different to your point. It's the pace of play the Crimson Tide has.
Well, you bring up the KenPom metric at the end of the year every year. And I forgot exactly how it goes, and maybe you can remind us
Top
at this
40
point.
offense, top 25 adjusted offense and adjusted defense.
Yeah, I don't know if you get an adjusted top 40. You know you're going to get a top 40 offense.
Yes, that's absolutely right. This is another Alabama turnover is the Travelers whistled, and that's turnover number 8 for the Crimson Tide as Millett got whistled for the shuffle.
That's crazy. 8 turnovers, only 11 and a half minutes into this game.
Yeah, that is the thing that will keep Nate Oates up even tonight after a preseason game.
It is, but it also is the stuff exhibition games are made of.
I just get exhausted watching these guys.
Yes, here is Somerville working against Bristow. Now down in the corner, Wiggins wants to shoot it. He tries it over Jemison. He can't get it to go. And another whistle on the rebound. Looks like it's going to go against the Crimson Tide. And it's going to go against Millett. That is number 2 on Millett, and he'll exit the game very quickly.
Millett was fighting for some space underneath and had him wrapped up, as you can see there at the bottom of your screen there. Arms fully around him, easy call from the strike. You know, you look at Alabama, this is what makes this sport so beautiful. 16-2, 2 different times in SEC play. Both those times they lost in the Sweet 16. The year they went to the Final Four, they were 13-5 in league play. Final Four team. 13-5 last year, Elite 18. 16-2, can't get past the Sweet 16.
It's a tough game to figure. You got to get hot in March. So Alabama run. Florida State trying to win that now, and they cannot do it. Rebound tipped out to Holloway. Holloway was going to pass it off to Allen, had it knocked away, and then as Holloway tried to regain possession, he lost it out of bounds. That'll be turnover number 9 on the Crimson Tide.
3 minutes and 20 seconds since Florida State last scored a bucket here. Alabama's defense cranked up a little bit.
That has flipped this game around with the Crimson Tide now up 4. Somerville is going to drive, cut off. Now Miles will reset the offense. Miles working against Holloway, takes him to the hoop, can't get it to go. Rebound by Allen. Now Holloway has his shot swatted away, and Miles fouled him. Those two went chest to chest on one end, and Miles late getting back fouled him on the other.
You like the aggression trying to get a block there from the backside, but nothing but contact. Almost ripped his arm off.
Yeah, it wasn't his shot that was not swatted away. It was his left and right arm.
Yeah, not only that, you were pretty late.
You know, I think Coach Laux loves this pace, but, you know, again, it's all about all 5 guys being able to shoot from everywhere on the court. Now 5 consecutive misses for Florida State. Some of the growing pains as a first-year head coach.
Well, you're going to change into this system. you're going to have what some would call a foundation year. Now, you don't want to go in expecting it to be a foundation year where you're not trying to make the NCAA tournament, but even Nate Oates, when he came in and changed his style before he got his roster, that first year they were barely above 500. I don't know what the goals are. Obviously, you'd love to make the tournament, but this could just be a foundation year for Luke Laux, to where you reestablish what you want at Florida State, change the system, change the style of player you recruit away from what Leonard Hamilton did, Hamilton was such a great defensive coach, right? Now you're going to play this NBA speed.
Well, look, it's going to take a while. As you said, 22 years under Hamilton. They were 17 and 15, 8 and 12 in the conference. I think Florida State fans just want to see some progress, and they want to see this style of basketball where you're seeing improvement game over game.
The Holloway free throws give the Crimson Tide a 6-point lead, and now another Florida State turnover. Hannah lost a handle on it for just a moment, and Bo Bowen comes away, and he'll be fouled, and we'll head to the free throw strike.
I'll tell you, one guy that I've loved in this first half of basketball is Taylor Bull Bowen. The way he's got after loose balls, as you see here, he's got a great shot from the outside, and he's willing to fight there in traffic. So first observation of Bull Bowen, and I'm giving him a 2 thumbs up so far, right?
This guy, again, inside the program, they are so excited about the Florida State transfer. His ability to push it, space, and shoot it inside or outside, and you just look at the length. I'm guessing at 6'10", would you guys say a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan?
Good shot of Aiden Holloway there with Nate Oates, and Nate trying to calm down Holloway, who's now a junior, 3rd year of college basketball, and trying to get him to play within himself. Slow it down a little bit.
I thought you were going to ask us to guess his BMI. Bo Bowen drives again and gets it to go, and we'll have an and one opportunity.
I tell you, this is the new 6'10" player that Nate Oates loves. The ability to put it on the deck, body control, getting the contact, kissing it off the glass. Now we'll see if he can finish the traditional 3. Or is it a non-traditional 3
yeah,
now?
maybe non-traditional 3 now. Alabama has got some interesting lineups if they really want to go big. Amari Allen out there as a guard at 6'8". Bo Bowen can play on the perimeter at 6'10". Millette is 6'5". He's a big body guy.
Well, that is one thing we noticed in pregame. You know, from last night to this night when we were calling Oklahoma State and Auburn to Florida State, Alabama, is just the length of players on both these rosters.
Yeah, this is a big Alabama team. Again, some of that size is inexperience, but they've got the size. Somerville tried to lose Bo Bowen. He kicks it out in the corner to Wiggins, and Wiggins gets the 3 to go, and that ends Alabama's scoring run there. A much-needed basket for the Seminoles. Philon was trying to work it into Bo Bowen. Another Crimson Tide turnover. That is double digits now for Bama. They've got 10 turnovers here in the first half.
Yeah, and Wiggins, a guy that only hit 36% of his threes last year at Clemson, has been working hard in the offseason, trying to get that number up around 40%.
A rush for the loose ball, and Allen is fouled. They will call a foul on Florida State. Allen went to the floor for the loose ball, slid for a little bit, or excuse me, it is Jemison, slid for a little bit, and then Florida State's Chauncey Wiggins came in and committed the foul. I could see that call on contact once Jemison was down on the floor.
Yeah, the first swipe of the ball, the elbow catches him in the face, and that's what he calls there. I don't think you really had to go for that ball, right? It was going to be over and back there because it did go off the Florida State player.
Double dribble missed on this side of action just a second ago.
Jemison can't get the first free throw to fall. Bloomfield, Connecticut is where he played his high school ball. 14 points, 4 boards there in Bloomfield for the 6'8", 200-pound freshman.
As you watch all the talent on this Alabama team and think about what they've had in recent years and what they're getting in the recruiting circles right now, you can't say enough about Preston Murphy, who you see standing by Nate Oates over there. Such an elite recruiter. Literally Nate Oates' right-hand man. He was standing right on his right side there near midcourt. Great X's and O coach too, but a relentless recruiter. And there's a good look at Preston Murphy. Yeah. That guy can do it all in a program.
And got to have that, Dunaway. You know, there was a time where you would recruit these guys in. You hope to have them 3 years onto the NBA. But now it's not only retaining the roster, it's recruiting high school, and it's recruiting the portal. So 4 new faces out of the portal for Alabama, 4 freshmen coming into this program. And as you said, a big part of that.
I'd love to see his cell phone minutes. I'll tell you that. Anytime I'm with that team on the road, he's in hotel lobbies, walking between restaurants and back to the hotel, and always has a phone to his ear talking to somebody on the recruiting trail. And that's just what you do now, but he is one of the best, if not the best, in the SEC at doing it.
You think an actual game is the only time his cell phone goes without being used for an hour at a time, maybe?
Probably, but you look at the Northeast influence, and you guys remember back in the days of the roaming charges on the cell phone?
Yeah,
you get back from a trip and you're like, oh my God, what happened? I just spent $600 this weekend on a phone bill.
That would be a hefty bill for sure. Here is Filine to Bo Bowen. Bo Bowen cut off on the baseline. And now a drive. Oh my goodness, that would have been a massive dunk by Hanna. He couldn't get it to go, and now here come the Seminoles. 3 on the way from Miles, a little strong, and now a whistle on the rebound, and that's going to go against Florida State.
Hey, if you're tuning in, you're saying, hey, where's Latrell Wrightsell? I thought he was going to be back. He is back, not 100%. So this being exhibition plays, you see the replay here. Coming up just a little short on the attempted dunk there. Maybe got away with a little foul or good defense by Florida State. But Wrightsell not playing tonight, was dressed, went through warm-ups, not going to risk it for an exhibition game. Probably if this was a game that count, Wrightsell would be out there playing, but he is fully on the road to recovery. He'll be a big part of what Alabama does this year.
And more of an opportunity to see some of these new guys like Davion Hanna from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But that was an aggressive look there.
To say the very least. Would have brought the roof down of this venerable old building had that one gone. But he couldn't quite get that dunk down.
101 years of this building. LT, do you think they ever had a legitimate basketball game with a peach basket in here ever? Or does it go doesn't go back that far?
Erected in 1920. You know, the thing I learned about this, I didn't realize that we had a mayor in our fair city of Birmingham, Albert Boutwell, where the building was named after.
I would have never guessed that.
But I would assume there was a peach basket here once or twice.
I bet Albert could fill it up from the outside.
And then have to literally pull it out.
Yes, 37-30. The Crimson Tide leads. Hanna pulls down that board. Quickly up to Amari Allen. Allen can't get the runner to go. There's Sherrell. We talked about maybe gaining a couple inches of height in the offseason, and he showed it there with the putback. And Aiden Sherrell will have a chance at a 3-point play.
The sophomore for Detroit played in 36 games last year, but averaged right at 9 points, 3 boards.
Yeah, and you said a key word there, sophomore.
Yeah.
He played 36 games last year.
He averaged 8 minutes, only 3 points and 3 boards. So very raw, but a guy that, as you said, Jim, probably the minutes go way up this year.
But you go back and look at like the Duke game and the BYU game and some games in the NCAA tournament. When he is playing, he is a one-of-one guy on the court. When he can get going and get into a groove and get some more playing time, they expect him to take a huge step forward this year.
Nice rebound by Hanna. He's showing some hops in this game, and now is fouled on his way to the basket. Was trying to get his first points of tonight's action and his first points in a Bama uniform.
Yeah, Davion Hanna very active early on here.
Yeah, you were seeing we talked recruiting, the fruits of those recruiting labors early on in this preseason game. And you see the foul by Miles there as Hanna will go to the stripe to shoot.
And you know, Alabama without Jalil Bethea, who will be back at some point, no set timetable, but sort of like Chris Youngblood last year, the transfer from USF who didn't play early on, just like Youngblood last year. Bethea here tonight in a boot, looks a lot like Youngblood last year. And just how great is the situation in Alabama roster-wise that you can start a season with so much talent, and then as you get into the season, maybe into conference play, you get a gift. You get oh, here's another addition to your rotation, a guy who can contribute and score and play defense. That's the kind of talent they've had the last few years in Tuscaloosa.
Well, you know, we mentioned Sears Amore, we mentioned Youngblood, Grant Nelson, another one of those faces gone from last year's roster. Obvious Mark Sears, production-wise, is the guy you'll miss the most. But Amore, what he did protecting the rim I think that is something that is still an unknown for Nate Oates and this Alabama team.
Yeah, again, the size is there. And they've just got to get that experience. Alabama up 10, their biggest lead of the game, and it's come at a time where Florida State has gone stone cold from the field. They have made 1 of their last 9 shots. And now a whistle on that inbound will go against the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I do think Luke Laux loves this pace, but some of these shots aren't even close for the Seminoles right now.
Yeah, it has been a tough run. They started pretty well offensively in this game, and they have hit a wall in the second part of this first half.
Yeah, 1 of 9, their last 9 shots.
Somerville will head to the stripe, at least try to get some points for Florida State right now to stem this Crimson Tide run.
And Martin Somerville, the American East Rookie of the Year last season at UMass Lowell, over 13 points per game. Shot it behind the arc at 40%. Another one of those lefties we were talking about last night.
Yeah, Oak State had a backcourt full of them.
Good look at Coach Laux there. Speed, pace, three-point shooting. We've talked about his change in the offense. Great guard for Leonard Hamilton's team between 2008 and 2012. Couple of Sweet 16 appearances for the Seminoles with him running the guard.
Coach Laux over there pacing. Most people wearing their Nike Dunks. He's got his Travis Scotts on. That's what that head coach money will get you.
Different set of shoes you get to buy with that, right? Phylon drives and kicks it back out to Bo Bowen. He thought about a 3 a couple times there. Now Holloway. Bo Bowen, he's going to take the 3 this time, and he makes it.
He has got a nice stroke. Probably some contact on that wrist that wasn't called.
And that pushes the lead to 11 for the Crimson Tide.
Good defense there by Bristow.
But then you had a mismatch on the inside, and Bristow comes over and helps defense and commits the foul. So Florida State will head to the stripe when you come back, 43-32. The Alabama Crimson Tide leading preseason action here. Ballin' in Boutwell, downtown Birmingham. Alabama and Taylor Bo Bowen making his debut. And at the free throw stripe is Alex Steen from Panama City Beach, Florida. And down at PCB, Steen able to hit the free throws, and that's really all the scoring Florida State's getting right now. They're 1 of their last 9 for the field. And now a tie up. And Steen is going to get a much-needed field goal, that easy dunk for the Seminoles.
Alex Steen, Coach Laux talks about the biggest wild card on this roster.
And all of a sudden, Florida State finding a little momentum in this game. And there is a 3 knocked down by Kobe McGee. Holloway tries to answer, and that's an air ball. And now here is Wiggins. He pulls the string on one, can't get it to go. Bristow tracks down the long board. Now Millette to Phylon. Phylon asking Sherrell for a screen. Now here is Sherrell. Steen closed out on him. Sherrell will pull it up from outside. He's not afraid to take an outside shot.
Yeah, Steen, a guy that averaged 2.5 blocks last year at Florida Southern.
Holloway on the drive, and he'll be fouled. He goes down to that freshly striped hardwood.
Maybe free throws get Holloway going a little bit.
Great transition from Florida State there as you get the download look after the turnover and the pull-up 3 there. And Alabama with the turnovers tonight, not really going well. Double-digit turnovers in the first half.
That's 11 of those.
You know, in this building, Todd Pettiford really had some shooting woes last night. Holloway not starting out great. Now he's hit five shots from the stripe, but 0 for 4 from the field right now for Aiden Holloway.
And all of those lands 3-point attempts. To your point, it's a little bit of an interesting backdrop. And he gets the second one to go.
You know, Holloway in the starting lineup was a 3rd-team preseason All-SEC guy, as voted by the media this past week here in Birmingham.
And And now Holloway playing some defense on Somerville. Steen sets the screen, and Somerville will pull it up for a long two. And all of a sudden, a mini little run here for Florida State to get back in this game. The Tide led it by 11. Now the Noles have cut that lead to 5 just before the half here. Bristow drives, can't get it to go, and Florida State will have the chance to cut into that lead more. Lizzie Jones, and he gets the dunk. And all of a sudden, this is a 3-point game.
Yeah, Jones is the guy creating the most buzz in Tallahassee right now on this newly revamped roster. And really, we haven't heard much from him tonight.
That three will not fall by Millette. And here comes Jones again. He'll pull it up for the three to tie it, and he drains it.
Yeah, there you go, the transfer from St. Bonaventure. Shot 39% behind the arc, but he is the 6'7" senior, has created a lot of buzz for the Seminole team.
7-0 run now for the Seminoles, and Nate Oates going to let his team play through this, but a foul will stop play.
We're about to get a little substitution here. 4 guys coming in to pull some guys off the floor as soon as they shoot a free throw.
So we were talking about Luke Laux, met his wife, who was a freestyle and butterfly competitive swimmer at Florida State. Scooter, I know your ability to swim. Think she can out swim you?
I think she could, for sure. We were told she made it to 4 basketball banquets, which was, to date that long in college.
That's commitment.
Yeah, I mean, I know you dated your wife all the way through college.
Yeah, I did.
LT and I did not.
No.
So it's 4 years. These guys met young, and they're still together, and now they're back in Tallahassee, and family all around them. They're living the dream now as the head coaching family there at Florida State.
He talked about the West Coast, from Phoenix, Golden State, Sacramento. He said she was much more excited about me getting this job and us coming back to Tallahassee.
Holloway.
When you got little kids, right?
Yeah.
It's always good to have the grandparents around.
I mean, I'd rather kid grow up in Tallahassee than Sacramento.
8 of 10.
Of course, I've never been to Sacramento.
Yeah, I was about to say, how do you know that? 8 of 10 from the stripe for Holloway as he exits after the free throws. That's where he has done his damage for the Crimson Tide tonight. He puts Bama back up by 2.
Love to say hi to Michael Alford, by the way, the athletic director of Florida State, friend of all 3 of ours. And I know they're heading out to the West Coast for football this weekend, but what a great dude, and he's doing a great job at Florida State.
Michael spent many years working in the athletics department at the University of Alabama on the media side, and now the athletic director at Florida State, and his team just took a 1-point lead. Here is Bo Bowen for the Crimson Tide. They will have to shoot here. Shot clock at 20, game clock at 27. Here is Viline. Loses his dribble. Now it's Allen, and now Allen turns it over again. Number 12 for the Crimson Tide this half, and Florida State will have a chance with the lead and the final shot.
Florida State has turned it up defensively.
2 seconds. 1 second as that one will not go. The tip will not fall as Lejay Jones was trying to increase that Florida State lead at the buzzer. Couldn't get it to fall, and they'll lead by 1 at the half.
Nate Oates not happy as he gets ready to do the Crimson Tide radio interview. Both hands under his armpit as he's over there doing the talk. Not happy with turnovers, not happy with rebounding, and we'll find out what he...
All right, starting the second half here, the Noles will have Steen out there at the top of the key. Hand off to Jones. Jones runner won't go. He gets his own follow. Trying to shoot it over Sherrill. That's not going to work. Steen now kicks it out. The reset 3 by Wiggins and barely moves the net. And immediately Florida State drains the 3.
Yeah, big shot from Wiggins there. But the thing I've noticed is Steen and Jones really involved the last 5 minutes of that first half, and right here to open the second half.
Here is Philon. Bo Bowen and Philon playing a little bit of a 2-man game out on the perimeter now from Sherrill. Philon will try to drive it on Steen. Come back 3 and he drains it.
Just such a smooth stroke.
Just a 31% shooter from beyond the arc last season. Steen gets the rebound on the air ball. And now some good movement on the perimeter. That three will not fall, and a whistle on the rebound. Looks like it will go against Bull Bowen.
All right, this is the pace of play both coaches want. You get the shots falling there. There's Wiggins. Net doesn't move. And then Alabama hits theirs on the other side with Philon on a smooth shot as well.
And if you knew nothing about these teams, and specifically Alabama, Bull Bowen is just coming into this game. You know that Philon is going to be your alpha. Bull Bowen, this guy, he's right there with him.
Definitely going to be a welcome addition. Philon on the drive, and he lays it off the glass. He's got 14 to lead Alabama in scoring. Sherrell moving some bodies on the inside. Doesn't get the rebound, but he tips it over to Bull Bowen. Now this is Houston Millette. Philon asking for it. And now a jump back three by Philon. Can't get it to go.
Philon was trying to take over the first 2 minutes of this half.
Absolutely.
Well, I was about to say, you know, there were many times that it seemed like the ball had to go through Sears at some point.
Right.
And you're wondering if Philon gets hot, or does Alabama have to have somebody that the ball goes through at certain times in the game? Is Philon going to be that guy this year? Probably so, right?
I would imagine so. Millette couldn't get it to go, and Sherrell tips it in. The dunk follow won't fall there.
I guess what I'm saying,
Wiggins tried to dunk it.
when it's a clutch moment in the game, who's going to be your guy? It was always Mark Sears. You were going to look to Mark Sears to
There
take
was
that
no
shot.
doubt. Yeah.
Well, you know, coming into this season, I would have said Philon, but maybe Aiden Holloway. Again, he struggled from the field early in this game, but, you know, a guy in his third year of basketball, and we know when he gets hot, he can shoot the eyes out of it. So I would say right now, Philon would be your answer. But
And Mark Sears was a free throw merchant as well. That guy was able to draw so much contact in the paint. He was very good at that.
And Holloway's doing that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Aiden Holloway, 8 of 10 from the strike.
But he's 0 for 5 from the field.
I mean, to your point, that was just the 13th free throw by Florida State. Holloway shot 10 on his own.
Luke Lauk's got to be impressed, though, bringing in Chauncey Wiggins from Clemson, 6'2", 225, senior forward. He has been very active for the Noles tonight.
Some of those young faces check back in for the Crimson Tide after that first Holloway free throw. He makes the second. There is a three on the way from Allen. Can't get it to go. And Florida State nursing that 1-point lead now. Here is Robert McRae the fifth. McRae fakes the pass on the drive. Nice layup by Robert McRae the fifth.
Yeah, that was impressive. You saw the body control, the spin there, and the ability to put it off the glass from McRae.
And then LeJay Jones knocks it away, and Millette was going to try to save it. It goes off his hands and out of bounds.
Carrollton State, JUCO, St. Bonaventure, now Florida State for LeJay Jones. And again, a guy that is creating a lot of buzz.
Little travel.
Most of these guys are.
My McRae is good, and he is heating up here. He's now got 8 back-to-back made baskets.
Remind me if we do another exhibition game, take the over.
Yes. Defense probably not quite as sharp early in the year as it will be eventually. Here is the drive from McRae. Kicks it down to Maluk. Shot clock at 12 now as Maluk has it on the perimeter. He's lost his dribble. And now Florida State's in a bit of a mess here. 6 on the shot clock. Nate Oates imploring his defense to keep playing. McRae can't get the shot to fall, and the Tide will have the ball in hand with a chance to tie it.
Great defense from Bristow that time.
Holloway draws contact, driving to the basket for Maluk. Doesn't get the foul, but does get the bucket, and Bama cuts it to 1.
His first bucket from the field.
Yeah, normally Holloway, one of these guys that tries to get a shot from the perimeter, but you got to like that if you're Nate Oates, getting it down on the block.
And here is that drive by Holloway. Well, that's a lot of contact, and he let him know about it afterwards.
Yeah, to be able to get that up and over, though. Full extension. We finally saw a shot clock get down to single digits last possession for Florida State. We have not seen a shot clock violation now going on 44 minutes in overtime.
Yeah, there was not one last night for Oklahoma State and Auburn, and we have not seen one here tonight. And that coach right there would be just fine if he didn't have a shot clock. He says you don't need one.
You know, and he credits Mike Brown, former coach for LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento, as being one of his mentors.
Second free throw by Jones is good. NBA influence all over both these coaching staffs. It's kind of the wave of the future right now and the wave of the present. The three on the way will not fall for Bristow. Now Allen chases down the rebound. He airballs the three, but Bristow from the backside with the rebound and the lay-in.
And not a good shot there for Allen. Alabama fortunate to pick up the air ball and put it in.
All knotted up at 60 now. Florida State trying to change that, but Jones can't get the three to go. Now here is McRae. He can't get it to go. And Holloway pulls down the deep rebound. Well, I thought for a moment Millett was going to pull it from there. Holloway is not afraid to. Now Millett will. He tries to draw the foul. Can't get the three to go. And the ball will go out of bounds off the Crimson Tide. That was a optimistic shot by Millett.
I tell you, just bad shots on both sides this last sequence.
Odd timing on that. Jim was right after the huddle broke.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened, but they are tending to him over there, and right now it doesn't look like a cramp.
Here is the drive by McRae. He dumps it off, and it is blocked from behind by Allen. And now, after the block, a three on the way from LeJay Jones, and he drains it.
Yeah, LeJay, a guy that averaged 11.6 rebounds last year, but you can see he's getting very involved in this Seminoles offense early in the second half.
Allen between the circles as Bristow waits to check in. Nice drive by Allen. He gets bodied at the rim and will shoot free throws.
Alabama opens up at home against North Dakota on November 3rd, so you got some time to work on the issues tonight. But then very quickly, November 8th, St. John's up in the Big Apple.
The number 5 team in the nation.
Yeah.
What Rick Pitino at, I don't know, 90 years old has done now.
Yeah.
I mean, I take a fun shot at Pitino. I'm just an incredible coach and one of the best to ever do it.
Let's take a
here's
look
the
at
replay.
what happened after the timeout.
It does look like he is starting to cramp up there.
Yeah, that was just weird timing. I think he was actually coming into play as well. He was not just part of the huddle. He was actually in the huddle.
Yeah, wasn't really favoring anything.
No. Very odd for Somerville, a guy that they very much like on this squad.
Yeah, we talked about the out-of-conference schedule last night for the Auburn Tigers and Alabama. NATO's been doing this every single year, and it's paid off.
Oh, there's no doubt. Alabama has not shied away from scheduling. And here is one of their talented freshmen, Allen, and he gets welcomed to college basketball a little bit by that block by Basong, and now a whistle before that basket.
Somerville is over behind the bench, and now the scorer's table is trying to stretch it out. He is hydrating, but you can see him trying to work over there.
Allen, in high school, that's an easy make right there. In the college game, no thank you. Shah Muhammad swatting it away. Now Cam Miles will go to the free throw stripe. He has not attempted a free throw tonight.
By the way, after that St. John's game, all you do is get Purdue after that. Where are they ranked, Lance?
Purdue right now is number 1.
That's right. That's right. So North Dakota at St. John's, Purdue.
Yeah, North Dakota is the return game, and
that was a tight one last year.
Who was the fellow that lit him up for like 70?
Yeah, and ended up in the portal.
Yeah. The Native American fellow.
You get a little Illinois, then you get Gonzaga, UNLV out in Vegas. Back here in Birmingham on December 13th, Arizona, if you want tickets to that, over at Legacy Arena on December 13th with Arizona, another ranked team. So typical NATO's pre-conference schedule, 13 opponents, 7 of them in the NCAA tournament last year.
And the good news is, once you get in the SEC, though, it settles down, right?
Yeah.
Only gets harder from there. The rebound to Hannah, and Hannah lays it in.
Yeah, we saw the aggressive offensive moves from Hannah. Davion Hannah, the 6'6" freshman out of Milwaukee in the first half, and puts one in right there.
And that is his first made field goal for the Crimson Tide, and the rebound follow will not go for Basong, but Tomas Basong will head to the free throw stripe to shoot for Florida State. The Seminoles tonight not shooting too poorly from the strike, 12 of 18, 66%. It's the amount of free throws, though, that they were concerned about. You heard Luke Laux mention that to Mo Finley at the half, and it is even up a little bit in this half.
It just looks like every time you look up, the Noles are on one of these cold streaks, 1 of 7, which they're currently on right now, or 1 of 9, and they're still just hanging around. And you got that 2-point lead on Alabama with 13:36 to go here.
Yeah, I feel like we've said Florida State in 1 of 9, so 1 of 7, and yet you look up, like you said, and they're leading the game here. Here is Philon working against Basong. It's the screen from Sherrill. Now Philon, nice bounce pass to Bristow. Can't get the dunk to go. And Miles comes out of there with it for the Seminoles. Basong was driving around the screen from Shah Muhammad, but they'll say Muhammad set an illegal screen.
See the block, and Nate Oates thought this was contact on the wrist there, working the officials good on the far sideline. Then on the other side, well, this is the same play. You get the block underneath.
Pretty close.
Look pretty clean.
Yeah. Depending on if you're Nate Oates or not.
And I am not. Nice move by Philon. He tried to go high off the glass. He couldn't get it to go, but he's going to shoot free throws.
Boy, the stop-start acceleration
My
for Philon.
goodness, the ball handling.
That is something you cannot teach, and one of the reasons NBA scouts drool over this kid and his potential.
My goodness. So you got an eyeful of it with Shah Muhammad. He left the floor, and all of a sudden, Philon is blown by him. Baron Philon has 14 points tonight. He's 3 of 4 from the stripe. He looks to cut into the Florida State lead now.
Florida State fans watching, Jim, you mentioned the fact they're going West Coast. They have not won an ACC game, 9 consecutive losses. Now an opportunity for Mike Norvell and a team that one of the head-scratching wins of the year in college football over Alabama. And a game you would think Florida State can go out to the Forum and handle as a 17.5-point favorite.
You would think that as they get out there, they're looking for a little momentum to get that, going back on the football side here.
Still a really good Florida State offense. It's just tough losses last 3 weeks for the Seminoles.
It is stacked up on them. And they found themselves reeling a little bit as they head out west to take on Stanford. Philon makes both free throws, and Florida State's lead is down to 1. The jumper will not go for Wiggins. And here comes Alabama with a chance to reclaim the lead. Philon. Wow, some more extremely impressive ball handling for Philon, and he's fouled before the shot.
Looks like a globetrotter out there.
You guys did not mention the Globetrotters. Surely they performed in this building.
I didn't see that.
Everywhere.
They had to, but they had to.
They had to.
They had to. Easy pass, great pass by Lon. Easy bucket from Bristow there.
Eddie Murphy did the delirious score in 1985 in this building.
And right now, this Alabama crowd trying to add a little delirium to the building. Fans are on their feet trying to cheer on the Alabama defense. Late closeout by Terrell. And Tomas Basong drains the 3.
That's the 3rd time tonight that cross pass has opened up an open 3 that Florida State has hit tonight.
Nice look inside by Allen, but can't execute the pass to Sherrill. He had Sherrill on a little screen and go there, but now hustle back on defense by Millett to get the block. And now here is Philon. Baron Philon starting to take over. The Crimson Tider has got 18, and Alabama has tied it up at 69.
Wow.
18 for Philon, 18 points.
And you know about his handle, but the body control once he gets in there with the trees down on the block to be able to up and over it. Very impressive.
Only 2 turnovers for Alabama in the second half here, so they've cleaned that up a little bit. You see Philon doing business there.
We'll check in with Mo in a moment. He's busy in that Florida State huddle for sure. All right, Robert McRae has it coming out of the Florida State timeout. Off the screen, Wiggins takes the 3 and drains it. Chauncey Wiggins.
My goodness, so impressed with
Yeah.
the 6'10" senior forward, the transfer from Clemson.
He's
Guy
got
that, you know,
16.
coming into this, didn't expect a lot of offense, can guard multiple positions, but he has been very active on the offensive side.
Mo Bowen, pump fake from the perimeter. One dribble, and he drains a 3.
I see why he was in the starting lineup now. He's done it at both ends of the floor.
Hey, don't get too used to him, because you ain't going to see him next year.
You think he's got the NBA game,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Yeah, Mo Bowen with 14 tonight.
You guys remember there was a day in basketball when 16 guys couldn't dribble?
shoot?
Well, couldn't shoot, couldn't
Yeah,
dribble.
Yeah, they were locked down on the baseline. Not anymore.
These guys could run point back in the 60s and 70s.
I mean, what could Luke Lausch be telling Wiggins right now except, man, I'm so glad you listened to me. I'm so glad you came from Clemson.
Yes, keep shooting, young man, keep shooting. Free throw is no good, and the rebound goes to Hanna.
Hanna plays a lot bigger than 6'6".
He does, doesn't he?
Yep.
Good-looking freshman for Alabama. Davion Hanna out of Milwaukee, 6'6", as Lance said, 180.
It reminded me of what Youngblood did last year. Chris Youngblood,
Yeah.
he sort of had the same build. He would get in there and get some tough rebounds.
And a critical
Doesn't look like a
component
freshman, by
of
the
that
way.
Elite Eight team. No, he does not.
Not going to get carded anytime soon.
Philon pump faked it between the circles there. And now just a long 2. You do not see many of those in a NATO's offense there.
You know,
Look at OT. He's so
Yeah,
upset about that.
He did not like it. 3 on the way, and it is good by LeJay Jones.
Yeah, Jones this is the reason there was buzz around this kid. He's playing like it in the second half.
And Philon was trying to work it to Mo Bowen, and it will head out of bounds. And Mo Finley spent some time in that Florida State huddle, 75-72. We'll see what he hears in the Alabama throw to fall.
There you see the 2021 SEC Coach of the Year. And since then, all he's done is take a team to the Final Four, first time in program history, and got them back to the Elite Eight, and ran into a really talented Duke team there up in New Jersey.
Second free throw is good, and that cuts it to 4 halfway through the second half. Here at Ballin and Boutwell, presented by Hibbett and Nike.
I love the way you said historic Boutwell, historic Alabama Theater, like everything downtown's historic to you. It's a historic town.
It's been here a while, right?
Yeah.
Does that
He's
make it
from
historic?
Anniston.
I'm from Anniston.
Scooter.
Yeah, we
Hot
have
Rod's from Anniston.
We have no history. Oh, we got some history in
We
Anniston.
got the Petard Mall. What is it?
Don't besmirch the great name of Calhoun County here.
So according to you, these are 2 historic programs playing in this historic
Sure,
building?
they have been here a long time.
They have.
You know, we were talking about Indiana football on the show earlier today, and how Indiana football better chance right now at winning championships than Indiana basketball.
You're not promised forever. I mean,
Yeah, you just wonder how quick Florida State can flip in basketball. I mean, Alabama did it, and it took a couple of years with Nate Oates.
well, I think they've got a coach. He's young, obviously, but I think he has the style of basketball that can do that for Florida State. He is an interesting young coach, Luke Lauch.
That's what I asked him. I said, man, your style, does that sell recruits? And they've got 3 guys, one of the, if not the top class in 2026 right now, because of his style. It recruits itself. Nate Oates has seen that happen. And, you know, BYU had the #1 player in the last recruiting class. He'll be a one-and-done guy. He goes to BYU because of that style of play.
And $5 million probably did not hurt either.
Well, that's a different style.
You know, it is interesting how the eye for talent for a lot of these recruiters to be able to go to the Drexels and the Jacksonville Universities and the St. Bonaventures You know, we mentioned the one guy in Wiggins tonight he's having, the only guy that came from a big-time school in Clemson. So Laux has got out. He's gotten it done, and boy, they've evaluated their talent. At least it looks like early on pretty well.
The pinnacle of Laux' career had to be his time with the Maine Red Claws, right, in Portland, Maine.
Well, Laux is also a guy, we talked about the atmosphere last night. It was almost like European basketball.
As the three on the way from Allen will not go. Kick out to Millett. He'll try a three, and it will not go, and Florida State has the board. Allen, though, not giving up. He had it knocked away for a moment.
I was going to tell you, Laux played professionally in Cyprus, Belgium, and Germany.
That's well-traveled also.
Another missed rebound. Second opportunity points for Florida State there.
Yeah, I like the Steen kid, though. It started out a little slow and seemed to finally, find his groove. And Alex Steen, 6'9", 230, senior forward from D2 Florida Southern.
Alabama being out-rebounded 38-34, and a whistle as Bristow was headed to the basket, and he'll shoot free throws.
Yeah, Alabama, 2 minutes and 33 seconds of game time without a field goal.
That's what you're talking about there, Jim.
Yeah, that was just one of those weird bounces, though. Can't blame that on Millett there. Weird bounce. Steen gets it. Scouting report on Steen can't stretch it out offensively, but he is playing as a starter tonight. Really good basketball. So I don't know how he's going to fit into this offense long term, but for tonight, 2-5 is looking pretty good.
And D2 averaged 18 and 11, had 2.5 blocks. They say he's the biggest wild card on this roster. Perimeter shooting's got to improve if you want to be out on the court for Florida State. 12 of 44 on his threes, 3 years there at Florida Southern.
I don't want to stereotype, but he's from Medicine Lake City, Minnesota, population 1,343. And yes, he had a pond in his backyard. Yes, he and his brothers played hockey on that pond.
That'll make you tough.
Did they fish on that pond, though?
Ice fish, LT.
Here comes Aiden Holloway for the Crimson Tide, down 6. And they have not scored in the last 2:51. Hannah trying to change that with a three, and he does.
Davion Hannah. We've mentioned his name a handful of times, the 6'6" freshman. Teardrop three.
He has 7, and he cuts the lead to 3, and the Alabama crowd on their feet. Steen lost it, and Nate Oates wants either a jump ball or a travel. He wanted something, and he got nothing. The shot clock is at 8. Here is McGray, fadeaway three, and he drains it.
Wow, the lefty stuck it, and I thought the shot selection not great there.
Not great
Degree
at
of
all.
difficulty really, really tough.
That was good defense, in fact. Holloway drives it in and able to fight through the contact and lay it off the glass.
That's the best moments for Holloway all night right there. That was a great move.
Continue to throw these up. So you are going to go on these runs, but you got to be prepared to go on those 2-3 minute droughts where you're 1 of 8 from the field.
Hannah off a nice feed from Phylon, and he just hangs in the air and draws the foul. Well, that was an excellent feed by Phylon, and Hannah.
Hannah's tenacious.
Yeah, he is. Really good-looking player. And that will foul out Alir Malouk. He'll head to the bench with his 5th personal foul. With still 7:16 to go. Both teams in the bonus.
What is Hannah from the stripe tonight?
Hannah tonight, Lance, is 2 of 4 from the free throw stripe. He's got 7 points.
Don't know what the confusion is here.
Luke Laux was shopping the bench to see who he wanted to bring in. And it will be Kobe McGee back in the game.
Going a little small here, outside of Wiggins.
And here is Hannah shooting the free throw. Again, a freshman out of Milwaukee, 6'6", 180. Nice touch on that one. And that cuts it to 3. Part of this talented freshman class for the Crimson Tide. You've seen them all tonight. Amari Allen, Hannah, London Jemison. Early on, we saw Collins Owenjeka. An interesting player, 6'11", 270, big body guy.
Hannah know, the only guy wearing uniform shoes to match the uniform.
A lot of colorful kicks out there. That was a rather bold pass, and now a foul will be called.
You know,
It was a pass from Miles and a ill-attempted alley-oop, and the Crimson Tide whistled for the personal.
You know, Jim, I don't know what you saw there, but it's almost a situation where the pass is so bad and erratic that you got to let that go. I guess there was contact.
Boy, not a lot though.
But that's almost like uncatchable on pass interference, right?
Yeah, I didn't even see any contact from our angle. That was a great camera shot there that showed us the contact. But from this angle, you won't see any contact.
Yeah, you can't make that call.
That's
bad call.
you gotta let that one go. Preseason for the officials too.
Yeah, but we talked about it. We get to talk to these officials before the game, and both nice. These guys are really such great guys. They got a great personality. I feel so bad screaming at them all season long.
Yeah, you do humanize these officials.
It's like naming the dog.
That's right.
You know, naming the cat or the cow, whatever you don't want to name on a farm. Pig.
The second free throw by
now-
Tomas Basong is good.
Now I like the guys. I know their names.
I know.
Basong is one of those guys that'll get in your head. He is nonstop energy.
He is.
He has come alive in this second half as well.
Holloway cannot find the range from outside tonight. He is now 0 of 6 from beyond the arc.
Alabama hustling on defense, getting the turnover.
Yeah. Luke Laux wants to see the replay.
That's something we have not had. McGee a little gimpy right in front of us.
Coach challenge. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Yeah, the
One of our
officials.
friendly officials.
One of our friendly officials letting us know
Still likes us until he sees the replay.
that Luke Lout is going to challenge this call.
Yeah, I mean, don't tell these coaches. I mean, much like last night, when you look at Steve Lutz and Stephen Burrell, I mean, these guys, they're in full mid-season form.
Yeah, Nate Oates been working the officials quite hard, especially on that last call. So we'll take a look at ourselves and see. And we're looking if Hannah touched it or if it went off Miles.
It's off two. It's off two.
Yeah, it does look like Miles touches it last. I don't know that Hannah did not touch it, but I think Miles definitely did.
Should we do it like pretend we're ACC football?
It's a better
Like-
angle.
Guys, I think I've got it off two here.
That's the way it sounds in the ACC, right?
It looks like it's off red two right here. Off white
There's-
and then off red two.
I don't know. What was the initial call? Out of bounds on Florida State?
Yeah,
on
out of
two?
bounds off of Florida State, and I think that's going to stand based
Yeah.
on these. Here's another look. So the call on the floor will stand, but bigger than that,
Yeah, they lose a timeout.
Yeah.
and the challenge.
I thought it would. I didn't see anything conclusive there. There
Yeah.
was no change in movement for the ball.
So not only do you lose the possession and the challenge and the timeout.
Nate Oates back in good standing with the officials.
That's
now.
right, he's happy now.
Look at the crowd here. They're into this late night on a Thursday. 85-81. Their team's down 4. Probably surprised their team's down 4 right now.
Probably so. Boy, we have had 2 good games, though. 2 close games the last 2 nights. Then it goes out of bounds off of Steen. Overtime last night, 2-point victory. Oklahoma State beating Auburn in that game. And then this game, a 4-point game with 6:37 to go.
I'd love to be in the film room when Alabama breaks down this tape because there are a couple of things. Here's Holloway.
Wide open 3, and he finally gets one to fall.
So Holloway, a guy that off the ball is so good. He's got unlimited range, but I think those 2 shots in the paint really got him going.
I watched him, man, last year, Lance. You're exactly right. When he'd hit one would lead to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, and next thing you knew, he's double figures.
You know, I don't know what you guys, the expectation is. You know, 21 minutes last year for Holloway in his first year at Alabama. What do you think those minutes look like?
Well, he did not get a start last year, but you would imagine he was in the starting lineup tonight, and I think you guys would envision Holloway being starting in that backcourt with Philon, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some of that I think will be on, how Hannah plays and some of
Reitzel will be back.
when Bethea gets back, Reitzel will be out there. So you'll be rotating the guards around a little bit because you got to have people that can handle it and shoot it on the floor. You don't want to go all 5 guards, so I think it could be good at times. But I mean, Wrightsville's going to be a starter, I assume, right?
I would think that yes, Wrightsville will be penciled in as a starter, and
Sherrill's going to be a starter, so.
A lot of guys get minutes, but you go back to Mark Sears. I mean, that guy seemed to play 35 minutes a game.
Yeah, he played start to finish almost all season last year. I will say with Holloway, he did not. He played in all 37 games for Alabama last year. Did not start any games, but he was comfortable in that role. So you do wonder if you're Nate Oates, is that a role he's just really comfortable in? There's a guy showing some comfort from outside as Millett drains the three.
Because I was just about to say, probably see Philon, Holloway, Wrightsell, and Millett would come off the bench, and then he shoots like that. He's such a great shooter.
Shoots it at a high level, a fifth-year guy, tireless worker, and boy, the rotation, right when he let that go, you knew it was going Bob.
And it ties the game at 7 into Millett with nice defense, making that a tough entry pass, and it goes out of bounds.
Do you know how greedy it sounds to people that are fans that as you watch the shot here from Millett and then the defense at the other end? We're sitting here saying, which of these great guards are going to start?
We named 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of teams are looking for 2.
Yeah.
Here is Philon working against Steen. He gives up a lot of height to Steen, but he's too quick for the Florida State defender, and Alabama back in the lead. 3 on the way, will not go, and Millett pulls down the board, and Florida State is going cold. They have not scored in the last 2:40.
Yeah, dangerous stretch right here for Florida State. Do not want this thing to get away from you. Alabama can score in bunches quickly.
And here goes Philon again, the reverse as he goes crashing to the floor. And LeBaron Philon has got 22, and Luke Lout's team is in bad need of a bucket, and now a whistle.
Probably a bad need for timeout.
Yeah, well, he lost one of those in the challenge, so he's got to be a little safer with those. Amari Allen picks up the foul. Here's Philon.
Well, that stop, man. He made that leg just stop.
His ability to redirect, the body control, to use both hands, and when he's underneath the basket, he plays so much bigger than he actually is.
Well, he's going to have to do that at 6'3" at the next level when he does go to the NBA likely this year.
It almost reminds you, the comp last year, remember it was Mark Sears, Jalen Brunson,
That's all you heard, yeah.
But I see some Jalen Brunson at 5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that again this year.
Maybe.
But they're closer in size.
They are closer in size.
Yeah,
yes.
Brunson and Sears maybe a little bit thicker than Philon. Philon listed at 6'4". I'm going to say that's generous. I don't know that he goes 6'4".
Say that he's 6'3", but that's on the shorter side of a
NBA guard.
Yeah,
for sure. And now Millett fouled, and I believe he's injured. It looked like Cam Miles cut him off, and Millett went to the floor, and he stayed down for a minute. He's going to be helped up, and he looks like he's okay.
I want to take you next time WWE's in town.
Do I buy it every time?
I want to take you, man. You thought Millett's injured.
Yeah,
he gets up and he starts ramping the crowd up here.
He laid
Watch
on the floor.
this.
Look at it. I mean, that's a hard hit on the floor.
He's selling the foul.
I don't think soccer would sell it that hard.
I don't think he had to sell that foul. He got clobbered.
Is he getting a free kick right here?
Makes the free throw.
And then he gets up and he revs the crowd up.
That's drama. 92-88, the Crimson Tide leads.
I had to grab your hand. You were at 9-1 before you did the other one. You were calling emergency.
From Alameda, California, obviously played basketball at Pepperdine. One of the coolest campuses in all of college basketball.
Gorgeous campus. Gorgeous campus. Great views of the Pacific all the way at the top of that campus, built on a hillside.
Millett makes the free throws amazingly, according to Brown.
93-88 Dunaway. The Crimson Tide leads, and now a block call against Bo Bowen.
Yeah, I think
The same thing just happened last night. We just had a player going to help another player up right under the rim and slip and fell to the hardwood.
Almost the identical spot last night.
Yeah.
Was it Keyshawn Hall?
No, I don't think it was Keyshawn Hall. Maybe it was. I can't remember. But watch this. Now watch. Now you're down, so you've got the perspiration on the hardwood, and your friend comes over to help you, and boom, he slips and falls into it. Same place as last night.
say that's where Tom Jones once performed on the crowd. All those wild women back in the 60s.
Missed free throw, and Alabama will send in some subs. Sherrell back in the game for the Crimson Tide, as is Amari Allen.
And Sherrell is just a massive, massive man back there, down there on the block, 22.
They list him officially in Alabama's first release of their roster this year at 7'0", 7 foot, 240.
Yeah, I know
Brady
you
Sherrell.
and Dunaway skimp on y'all's height a little bit, but I think he's a legitimate 7
I'm
feet.
a legitimate 6'1".
I think you were 6 and change when we went to the combine with on 3.
Phylon drives to the basket. He can't get it to go, but he is going to shoot free throws. 5 of 6 from the free throw stripe tonight is Phylon, and he's got 22 points, which leads all scorers.
I got
in this
Phylon
game.
6'3" from the NBA site when he,
Yeah.
it's real.
That's
It's
right.
a real height for him because he went through the combine and went through the draft process.
Yeah, and I think, Brown, did you not say they list him at 6'4", but I think he is
Yeah, I mean,
6'3".
the media got height to 6'4", but as Jim said, once you've gone through combines, you've got a height that they're going to judge you at that height. Now, obviously, you could grow. Free throw is good. What people lose sight of, though, Lance, in the NBA, is how big those players really are. For instance, Steph Curry looks like a runt out there in the NBA. Steph Curry is about Phylon's height. Curry is 6'.
And you look and you see them standing next to, Kevin Durant back in the day, a true 7-footer. It does look like these guys are a little smaller than they actually are. Phylon, though, the inside-outside game tonight has been fantastic.
95-89. The Crimson Tide now leads it, but very quickly. Florida State cuts that back to 4.
Facial expression from the Natos changed just like that when you let him dribble for an
That's right.
easy layup. Nobody stopped the ball there.
And now a whistle as Millette. Was he selling that one too, Jim? He draws the foul, though. LeJay Jones called for that personal foul. And when we return, and Nike, Alabama leads at 95-91. Mo Finley in the Alabama huddle. What did Nate Oates tell his team, Mo?
Fellas, that last Alabama huddle, players took control for the most part, encouraging each other to finish. Again, they've done a great job of coming back, weathering the storm. And you can hear all the encouragement instructions, especially from their leader. Every night when you come onto a basketball court, you've got to have a couple of guys that will take the lead when the coach can't necessarily be on the floor with you. Bama has a ton of them.
Yeah, I saw LeBaron and Phylon doing that during the last free throws from Florida State. A little confusion on what play they wanted to run coming off those free throws, and Phylon took charge, getting the attention from the coaching staff and then sort of managing things on the floor. Great leadership from the second-year player at Alabama.
Well, that makes both the free throws, and that puts Alabama back up by 6, 97-91, with 3:54 to go. Out at the top, McGee, 3 on the way, no good. Allen skies for the board. Now Amari Allen will push it for the tie.
Jim, you talked about earlier who the go-to guy for Alabama, and I think you've got a handful of those guys if you're Nate Oates, but if you're Luke Laux, you're still trying to figure out who that guy is that you need a basket from in the final 3.5 down 6.
Chauncey Wiggins is that guy tonight?
Yeah,
Don't know who that guy will be during the regular season.
LeJay Jones is going to be one of those guys that will be in the mix. You saw McCray the 5th hit a 3 a second ago, and he's a guy that's not afraid to shoot it, but still think you try to figure out in clutch time who that guy is going to be.
Aiden Holloway is about to shoot his 11th free throw of the night. He's 8 of 10 from the stripe tonight. That was where he had all of his points till he started heating up this half. That made 3 and a couple of runners in the paint. He's got 15, now 16 on his night tonight.
Big Nike, one of our great sponsors here tonight, and he's got the cleanest Nikes out there. Like there's
You
not
like
one,
those?
There's not a scuff on them.
Early in the season, LT
That's right.
exhibition, but you can get new ones. Alabama's approaching 100 points. That's always an important number as they get to 99. This game has a feel like the game up at Rupp Arena back in January that was 102-97. Alabama played a couple of those games last year where they scored a lot but gave up a lot of points.
They are comfortable in that situation. It may not be comfortable for the fans, but this Alabama team does a lot of that where it is a high-scoring, tight game. but they just never take their foot off the gas.
Yeah, and you know, the efficient offense, when you get up around the 100 mark, although it can be a tight game for a little bit, you know, ultimately you look up and it's a 10-point game.
Here is McRae. He can't get it to go. The tip will not go from Steen. He's got another shot. He can't get it to go, but he is fouled.
Yeah, and we talked about Steen earlier, the 6'9" senior forward, 230 pounds out of D2 Florida Southern, averaged 11 rebounds last year, and he's just one of those guys that just gets under your skin and doesn't give up.
And he stayed after it there and will get rewarded with free throws. Steen 1 of 3 from the free throw stripe tonight. As a team, now 21 of 32. The Seminoles are at the strike.
Alabama has a unique 3-game stretch, not a stretch, but at 3 different points during the season. Former Nate Oates assistants, Austin Claunch at UTSA, Alabama will play them. Brian Hodgson, now at USF, Alabama will play them. And then a game in Huntsville where they'll play Kennesaw State, the great Antoine Petway, another Nate Oates and Mark Godfrey player, Nate Oates assistant. So some familiar faces on that Alabama schedule this year.
I was doing an interview with our friend Chip Brown in Austin today and talking about the great Nick Saban assistant tree. And I would assume if Nate hangs out another 6, 7, 8 years in Tuscaloosa, you're going to see his tree continue to grow.
I agree.
A lot of open jobs. Look to the Nate Oates staff as they've had great success in Tuscaloosa. That dead ball out of bounds. Alabama will maintain possession and Philon will trigger it underneath the Alabama basket. Millette, extra pass. Holloway, he gets the 3 to fall. Aiden Holloway's got 20 tonight after his second made 3.
Great ball movement right there from the Crimson Tide to get an open, really, really good look from Holloway.
And that did put Bama over the century mark and increase the lead to 10. Florida State with time running out, cannot get the 3 to go. McRae with the rebound, his follow will not go. But a whistle, I believe, will go on Millette. And boy, Nate Oates is furious.
Nate's a little confused just on this side for Florida State. Over the last couple of minutes, you've gotten calls that you really didn't get in the first half.
Oh, I think he was talking more about the rebound, grabbing the ball.
I believe you're right. He was furious at his players, but he has spent time working the officials as well.
Yeah. He wanted somebody to grab the ball with both hands on the rebound.
The free throw is good by Robert McRae V.
Robert McRae, you're going to be shocked to hear this. Another lefty, worked hard in the offseason to be able to use the right when penetrating. And Lauk says he's gotten much better. Obviously, you got to be able to do if you're in this situation, a guard transferring from Jacksonville University to the ACC in Florida State.
Robert McRae is very proud to be Robert McRae V. He asked us to use the 5th. And he also tells us, oddly, there is no Robert McRae III.
That's right.
Went from 2nd to 4th. Yep. Philon with another runner in the paint puts Bama up by 10 again.
I know we all have problems with that. You're going to have to explain that one to me.
I wish I could, Lance. He tells the story.
You got a great-great-granddad.
That's Robert Milton McRae.
Okay. Then you got great-granddad.
That is Robert McRae Jr., the second.
You got a granddad.
Robert McRae Sr.
Then your dad.
Robert McRae the 4th. And he's Robert McRae the 5th. Somewhere we've got a senior in there instead of a 3rd. I don't know.
You don't see them go with the V a lot. I mean, how often do you get to the 5th?
Yeah, that's a name that has lived a long time when you get to the V.
He's a great athlete, though.
He's a heck of a player. I like what he has brought to Florida State tonight, leading them in scoring with 22, now 23 after that made free throw.
And again, a guy that, played at a smaller school in Jacksonville University for the Bulls, but scored 20 against national champion Florida Gators last year.
Yeah, I remember watching him, that Florida game, I was about to say, and he was the best player on the floor for the Dolphins for sure.
Air ball from Bristow, and now a quick trigger from Miles, and he drains the 3. Don't count out Florida State just yet. They cut it to 5.
Love the way he shoots off the dribble, man.
Taylor Bowen about to check back in for the Crimson Tide at the next dead ball. Allen, and now Phylon.
This is the Nate Oates version of the four corners.
That's right. The shot clock is about to hit single digits. Here is Phylon trying to back him in, and he gets fouled. He was backing in Miles, and Miles fouled him. Cam Miles is about to foul out of the game.
May have caught one in the eye there. Phylon pulls the headband off, and he's checking his eye. Not a ton of Aiden Sherrill tonight. I don't know if he ended up getting tweaked a little bit, if he's just resting tonight, but not the minutes you would expect from Aiden.
Yeah, I agree, Jim. And
I see him icing his left knee over there on the bench.
Yeah, you also wonder, early season conditioning, getting these other guys the minutes, but I think there's going to be a big expectation, when you're looking to replace some of those big bodies. And Clifford from last year.
Well, that checks out for the Crimson Tide. Miles fouls out for Florida State, so that's the end of the night for Cam Miles.
Phylon's going to clean his hands after getting that eye checked out. I mean, on the floor right now, you've got freshman Hannah, you got Allen out there, you got the newcomer and Taylor Bowen. So Nate Oates using some of the new faces.
And then crafty veterans like LeBaron Phylon in year number 2, but
yeah,
you anymore get a quality player that has been in a program more than 1 year. It's almost a luxury in college basketball.
It really is. I mean, this is the new world, and you just don't see guys remaining on these rosters.
big free throw, 3-possession game now.
Yeah, and you wonder with the 3-possession game, even in this Oates offense, how different they would play this in the regular season and exhibition basketball.
Hannah ran right into a Chauncey Wiggins screen and went crashing to the floor. After the kick out, Jones thought about the 3. Instead, we'll kick it over to McGee, and McGee buries the 3. And now Luke Louts will use one of his remaining timeouts as the game is now at 4.
Yeah, good ball movement right there from the Noles, getting McGee open to knock down the 3 to make it a 4-point game.
I don't know if we have a replay of the shot before the three-pointer, but it reminded me of the Florida State-Alabama football game, the blocks they were running for the ball carrier. Yeah, it was, see this transition right here. That's a nice little bucket to the hole. Contested jump shot. That's really good.
Yeah.
And then drive, kick out, contested 3, boom. Hard to complain about those.
Yeah, Florida State, 14 of, get ready for this, 41 from beyond the arc. You think Alabama shoots a lot of threes. Florida State has shot 41 in tonight's game. Alabama 12 of 33. Rarely will Alabama play a team that shoots more three-pointers than they do, but Florida State has done just that tonight.
Well, Luke Louts going out and recruiting a bunch of shooters, and McGee that just hit the shot, the 6'5" senior, averaged 6 attempts per game last year at Drexel.
I will say, for whatever it's worth for Luke Louts, his team has shot, I mentioned 14 of 41 from beyond the arc, 34%. Alabama as a team gave up just 30% from beyond the arc last year, so you're actually a little bit ahead of what Alabama allowed last year. It's got to be a positive sign for the Seminoles.
I don't know what to expect from Florida State. Dunaway, you brought up the fact that a lot of people project them as one of the worst teams in the major conferences.
96 and Ken Pom picked 15th in the ACC. Maybe it's because we get to see him in person. I didn't feel like Oklahoma State is going to be as bad as people made, and I just don't think this Florida State team will be as bad as people think.
Yeah, I agree. 17 wins last year. I think they could be around that number again. 8-12 wasn't great in the ACC, but they've got some scores.
They're going to go to full court pressure, a little token full court pressure against Alabama here. The Crimson Tide up 4. And now some half court pressure from the Florida State team as they'll extend their defense, trying to create a turnover here and make things a little tougher on the Crimson Tide. Phylon asked for a screen from Bowen. Now he'll back out. And now Phylon had a look at 3. He'll dump it off though. Yeah, Allen can't get it to go.
I know you're looking at clock in this situation up 2 possessions, but I think Nate wanted him to take that shot.
Oh, he's been on him a couple of times tonight to take the shot, take the shot.
That is one thing Nate Oates will get as upset about as he does anything. is passing up an open look.
Well, and
He
it
wants you
was-
to take a good look.
And, you know, Philon is one of those guys you trust, and he hits that shot there with, 32 seconds to go in the game, putting them up 7. That would pretty much be the dagger. He passes up on the shot.
Yeah,
Now
he
Florida
gave
State
it
back to the strike.
gave it to Allen. You know, and you're trying to work the clock, like you said, so they gave it back and forth, but it was 4 seconds on the shot clock when he could have shot it instead of 2 or 1 with Allen. So you'd rather take it with 4 and have your best shooter out there.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things I think with Philon, you know, he's gonna learn this year. Hey, you're the guy. You're the man. You're the guy we want.
That's
You
the
taking
guy,
the shot.
That's the guy you wanted shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Philon, played in 37 games last year. Again, only 24 minutes, so those minutes are going to go up, and you're right, the basketball IQ is going to go up.
And after the made free throw, Alabama doesn't block out, and Florida State was able to get another chance. They can't get it to go. Millette gets the rebound, and now Florida State trying to extend the game with fouls.
Now is when Alabama's going to have to hit these free throws. And they've got a good one going to the stripe right now.
Yeah, Millette very good from the arc, from the stripe tonight, 4 of 4.
There's Philon. He just had a conversation. He's explaining why he didn't take the shot. And I could see sort of his body language and the coach's body language. They sort of understood what he was talking about, trying to take a little bit more time off the clock. And very calmly, Nate Oates said,
Just take the shot.
do you know how good you are, son?
That's right.
Take that shot.
You
Take
had
that
an
shot.
open look. That's what we want.
I know Millette's a California kid, but for Pepperdine to land him early on, the 21st best combo guard coming out in the 2021 class, scored 24-7.
Heck of a recruiting job there.
It really is.
You ever been on that campus,
Yeah,
though? It's how pretty.
It sells itself, that's for sure.
Greatest Pepperdine wave in history. Doug Christie?
I
give
would
you
go
that.
Doug Christie.
Yeah. Speaking of the Sacramento Kings, right?
Yeah, very good player back in the day. Couldn't get past my Lakers, though.
15 seconds to go as Robert McRae V able to lay it in. He's had a nice game, 24 points, 26 points, excuse me. And now Alabama cannot get the ball inbounded against the pressure. And we'll have to burn a timeout up 2 with 12 seconds to go.
Man, great job by Amari Allen there, though. There's the freshman. He didn't panic, didn't have a good, easy pass, knew he had a timeout, took the timeout there, staying out of harm's way.
So look at what LeBaron Philon has done in this second half.
I mean, how can you, what's your brain doing when you're stopping and going like that? Just the creativity, it's amazing. Put it to music.
Shows you how good the handle is. I mean, you don't even have to think twice about it.
That was the one there. I think that one even impressed himself. Like the way he was reacting when he came up the court.
8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. He's made 9 of his 10 free throws. He's got 28 points tonight to lead all scorers, LeBaron Philon does, and he's added 4 assists as well.
Yeah, I don't know the best way to defend Philon. You wonder if you put somebody really physical on him that bodies him up, but I mean, he's an assassin from everywhere.
A little design play to get the
Yeah,
inbound
very
coming
nice.
out from Nate Oates. Had Millette throw it to Philon out of bounds. Philon gave it back to Millette. It was open. Philon points over to the bench to the coach. He said, "Hey, good job. That was well designed. That worked well."
Well, I mean, that's the number one thing is getting it in, especially when you've got a collection of 5 guys that can shoot it from the stripe.
And not only that, you got it into your best free throw shooter in an obvious foul situation. That was a very nice design by Nate Oates on the Alabama sideline, and Millette pays it off, making the first. This is the key one, though, to make it a 2-possession game.
What is our timeout situation with Florida State?
Florida State is 1 timeout remaining. Keep in mind, they lost a timeout on the Challenger.
Alabama also has one, if needed, on any inbound pass coming up.
Millette's free throw is good.
Yeah, big free throw. Got the shooter's touch, shooter's roll there. Florida State's going to have to go quick.
The Alabama crowd will come to their feet with the Crimson Tide up 4 with 11 seconds to go. Alabama will make it tough on Florida State with a full court pressure. Make them burn as much time as possible getting the ball up the floor. McRae does that. Takes the 3. Can't get it to go. And the rebound goes to Alabama, and Florida State will wave the flag.
Final score, ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Crimson Tide, 109. The Florida State Seminoles.
The Alabama